You know, now that I think about it, it's actually been a while since I've made my last incoherent rant. Oh, man. What is it I could talk about? I could talk about Pokimane and how she wants to get trolls arrested. Oh yeah, but nah, Scarce already debunked that. EDP. Nah, too many other people have already talked about that too. Logan Paul. No, CoffeeZilla got that covered. Damn. What am I going to talk about? Well, Greg did always tell me to do a storytime video at some point, so considering I'm all out of ideas, I guess this is the best I should do. Screw it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story from 2015, and I have a lot of stories I have to tell from this time because this was the first time I actually got out of the country. Ever. And, you know, it was pretty cool. So, me, my mom, and my oldest brother, we got on a plane from Denver, and we went to Central America to go see my mom's family over there. And now, this isn't a story about what happened during that trip or before that trip. This is a story about when we were coming back from that trip, because honestly, this is a time that, really made me not like going out of the country, because as a 13-year-old boy at the time, it's not exactly the funnest of times. So, for the sake of storytelling, I want to lay the premise that this actually happens at, the customs enforcement area of the airport that we were in, which, by the way, the airport we were in when we were coming back into the country was, I think, Houston International. So, I don't actually have any pictures of this area, so to make it easier on everyone, I'm going to use this. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're about to say to yourself, but Prez, the Border Patrol agency in Houston's airport doesn't look like an 80s Soviet border. And that's where you're right. It didn't look like this. But given the fact of how much this traumatized me as a child, this is how we're going to represent it. And while this may not be very accurate, let's just say that where the booth is on here, there's a second one for a separate line of people who are actually legally considered foreigners. Now, when you would get to this airport, as soon as you got off the plane to get back into the country, technically, there was this sign, like you would be greeted with this sign as soon as you left the gate, and it would say this. There would be one arrow pointed to the left and say, all, foreign people take this line, and then all U.S. citizens take this line. Now, keep in mind, my mom and my brother at this point weren't completely U.S. citizens yet. They were on their way to it, so they had to take the foreign line. I had to take the U.S. citizen line. And it's all fun and games. I go up to her, and the guy goes, "Welcome to the United States. What was the purpose of your trip?" And me being the 13-year-old that I am, I'm just like looking up at this very bold, strong man, and I'm like, I went to go see family. Do you have anything in that luggage that I should know about? And I look at him like, no. Do you have your passport? And I hand him my passport, and he stamps it. He's like, okay, kid, welcome to the U.S. You can go on ahead. Now, after you get your passport inspected and stuff, and you get, admitted, there's, as soon as you leave the booth, there's this giant sign with an arrow pointing to the right, and you're essentially supposed to walk only in that direction. And so I look over to the other side on the second line, and I notice that my mom and my brother are getting their passports stamped, and I notice that both of them get pulled aside for whatever reason, and I start to panic. And so as I'm standing in that little area, that little section where you're supposed to just keep going in, that straight direction, a border patrol, or like the border agent that was like, came up to me. It was like, hey kid,
do you want a wiener in
you
your...
need to keep moving. You can't stop in this area. You gotta keep going. And I'm like, but my mom, my brother, what am I supposed to do, man? Like, you know, I don't care. Keep going. And so at this point, you know, I'm borderline, like a tear is about to run down my face because I have no idea what's going on. And so I just have no choice but to keep going forward. Before I actually went through the path, actually, now that I'm remembering, as I was going through and I noticed that my mom was getting taken into that room, I ran over to her. And there was this lady that was escorting her into this, like, interrogation room thing. And I was like, can I go with my mom, please? Like, can I not be by myself in like this area? And she looks at me and she has this like really demonic fucking look about her. And she's like, no, like a Karen. She wags her little finger like she's done something with her life. And he's like, no, you go. And she slams the door in my face.
Hey, buddy.
And so I go over to this so now we're at the point where I go to this airport waiting area. And, you know, I'm there panicking at this point. I'm on the verge of a panic attack, and I call my dad, and I'm like, and because, you know, at this point I hadn't turned on my phone. I hadn't let him know that we landed. So I called him, and he was like, what's up, Mijo? And I tell him what's happening. I tell him, hey man, they took mom to a different room. My brother got taken too. I don't know what's going on. I'm by myself at this fucking terminal. Like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, okay, calm down. Everything is gonna be okay. Everything is gonna be fine. You're gonna be all right. Just don't go with anyone. Don't talk to anyone. Just stay there. Find something to do to pass the time. Distract yourself. It's all gonna be okay. And so I followed his advice. Now, there wasn't really much I could do to distract myself. One, because I had my iPad. Like, it was a really old iPad, barely had any games on it. I had, my phone that was now finally working again, because when you're out of the country, don't have signal like you do in the country. And keep in mind, the phone I had at the time was like a really old LG, like, I don't know, I think I still have it here. It's like an old LG phone. Here we go. It was an old, like, LG Optimus, I think. I don't remember what it was actually called, but it was like a really small, flimsy little phone. You know, this had like 4 gigs of memory in it, so I really didn't have any games installed on this thing. And so I call up a friend of mine. I don't know, what's a like typical Italian name? Hang on. Let's, for the sake of keeping this video short, let's call him Tommy. And so I call up Tommy. And I'm like, hey man, I'm stuck at the airport right now waiting for my mom to come back because I haven't heard jack from anyone. And he's like, oh dude, sorry to hear that, man, but I'm at work. And I'm like, oh damn, sorry dude. And so I ran out of people to call. So I just sat there for like an hour waiting until my mom finally came out of the room. And I was like, what happened? And she was telling me, oh, you know, they were just asking me some questions, and that was it. I didn't get into any trouble. Has your brother come out yet? And I look at her, and I'm like, no, you both went in there. And she's like, oh, crap. Okay, we gotta go look for him. And so we did what no one else would. Instead of going in that straight direction, in that little passageway, we went the other direction, and we had to go see if my brother had come out already. And so we get stopped by another agent. He's like, hey, no. What are you doing? You're supposed to go that way. So I tell him, well, my brother hasn't come out yet. We're still looking for him. And then he thinks that I'm talking about some like younger kid. No, I'm talking about a full-grown adult. And then, you know, as we're doing this, my brother does come out, and we're like, you know what, never mind. So, in the end, we ended up missing our connecting flight because of all that. But we did make it home sometime around midnight that day, Mountain Time. So, in the end, it was all okay. But moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, crossing the border, crossing like the inspection checkpoint thing, sucks. So yeah, that's all from me. I'll catch you on the flip. Scotch tape over and out.